And just that phrase went again and again in my head, that everyone knows tinnitus is for life, Liam. You can't fix it. Some people it just goes away and some people it doesn't, and those are the breaks. And I was thinking, how could I habituate to this? Because I was so scared of not only the noise, but having the noise forever. But then, would you believe it, 3 days later, it decreased again. It went up and down. And then, what it turned out to be was, I realized that the magic of fasting happened in the days after you finish the fast, not during it. So I decided to do it again and again and again. And then it finally happened. I finally woke up with complete and utter silence after all those years of pain. Oh, not only did the silence feel amazing, but I just proven all of those ENTs wrong. All of the people who told me that I couldn't do it. Even the people who cared about me so much, who I saw in their eyes, they thought I would have it forever. I was a new me. It was such a shock to my system that I had forgotten what silence felt like. It really was a new me, and hearing silence really felt like being reborn. So that was my domino theory. Noise trauma, toxic foods, lack of sunlight, chronic stress, not enough nutrient-dense foods, inflammation, and not enough rest for the body. And let me tell you something. I have refined this process so far that fasting is not even needed anymore. Nobody needs to fast anymore. I've made it so easy. I went through all this pain and all this trouble just to learn something. This was 5.5 years ago, and over this past 5.5 years ago, I have refined it and refined it again, and that's what I'm going to teach you right now. We are at the final part of this entire presentation. So this is how to do it. What I'm about to teach you, I have in the past usually charged $5,000 for. So please pay attention. I'm only going to say this once. Your tinnitus, whether it's caused by stress, a medication, anything in between, okay, loud noise included, is not due to broken stereocilia. There is, in the scientific literature, absolutely no proof whatsoever that broken stereocilia has a causal relationship with tinnitus. Because the person from stress didn't break their hair cells, but perhaps the person who got it from loud noise did. How exactly does that work? And how would that possibly make sense? And that's when I realized all of these people, including myself in the past, have one underlying problem, one single determining factor that is causing their tinnitus, hyperacusis, pulsatile tinnitus, vertigo, and Meniere's disease. One underlying factor. And that factor is called the mechanoelectrical transduction process. The mechanoelectrical transduction process. This process is what converts vibration into electricity. Let me explain what this is very simply, okay? Right now you're hearing my voice. Whether you're using headphones, you're on your phone, or a computer. The voice is coming out of the speakers in your device. It's traveling through the air via sound waves, and it's hitting your outer ear. Then it is traveling via your outer ear to your tympanic membrane. This is also called your eardrum. Then what happens is the vibration goes through the three little bones inside of your ear, and they are called the malleus, the incus, and the stapes. The stapes then pushes onto your cochlea in both of your ears. The cochlea causes vibration to happen within it. I'll just simplify it. That vibration affects the hair cells. These hair cells transform what you're hearing in the air, and they actually transform it into an electrical signal. How do you transform vibration like this into an electrical signal that can be passed through the vestibulocochlear nerve into the auditory regions of your brain? You have to have a process called mechanoelectrical transduction. Mechanical, electrical, you understand that. Electrical signals into your brain, and that's how you can hear me right now. However, this mechanoelectrical transduction requires a huge amount of energy. One of the body's main source of energy is something called ATP, adenosine triphosphate. If there is not enough ATP freely available within the body, your ears cannot do their job. This causes dysfunction, and that leads to the phenomenon of tinnitus. This is what the domino theory is all about. If you have dysfunctioning mitochondria, that is usually going to lead to tinnitus, not to mention other health conditions as well. Here's where we get fancy. What are some things that can cause mitochondrial dysfunction? Because remember, the mitochondria creates the fuel that actually causes the mechanoelectrical transduction to work, which is what your ears need to function. So what causes mitochondrial dysfunction? Are you ready for this? Stress, loud noises, certain medications, EMF, all of the things that people think are directly affecting stereocilia in the ear are actually affecting the mechanoelectrical transduction via mitochondrial dysfunction. I'm trying to keep this as simple as I possibly can, but again, you'll be able to download this later and read it. What I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to break down how to do this. It's a 3-step system. This is how you literally do it. You need to understand that what is affecting your mitochondria in your body, okay? By the way, your mitochondria is an intracellular organelle. There's thousands of them that live in each of your cells, except for blood cells, and that's what gives your body energy. That's how you're able to hear, see, think, and more. So there are 2 aspects, okay? There's aspect 1 and aspect 2. We're getting into the dominoes here. Aspect 1 are the things that you are doing daily that are negatively impacting your mitochondrial function that you don't know about. Aspect 2 are the previous dominoes, the things that you've done in the past that are still affecting your mitochondrial function to today that you do or don't know about. We'll get into this in a second. The easiest way to do this, okay, is to use a survey that I'm going to show you in a second to uncover what your dominoes are. Because otherwise, there's practically no way that you'll know what to do. Then you get your list, and it's usually a list of about 7 to 12 dominoes. So this is just an example of different dominoes. And the logos don't mean anything in particular. I just put them there, okay? You need to know what your dominoes are, and then you put them in the correct order to reverse them. Step by step, one by one, slowly and safely, until you get silence. This is exactly how everyone you've seen in this presentation and everyone you haven't seen in this presentation fixed their tinnitus and are now living absolutely incredible lives. Now, I'm not going to leave you with nothing. So here are some of the most common aspects from aspect 1 and aspect 2. The first one is coffee. If you didn't know this, coffee is incredibly toxic. It dehydrates your brain. It negatively affects your sleep, which in turn directly affects your mitochondrial function. EMF, things like wireless headphones, looking at a phone too long each day, okay? Those wireless headphones and electronics and handheld devices, sure, we need to use them. We live in the Western world. But overuse will cause direct dysfunction in your ears. Toxic substances, scented candles, sorry ladies, and certain shampoos and moisturizers you use are toxic to your mitochondria. Now aspect 2, things in your life. Whether you grew up in a home with mold or you currently live in a moldy home, mold has a direct impact. The mycotoxins from it directly impact your mitochondrial function. A dental infection, remember these are things from the past. If you have a root canal or a silver filling, those are incredibly toxic to your brain and incredibly toxic to the mitochondria in your ear, your nervous system, your nerves, and also in your kidneys and your adrenal glands, which control, you guessed it, your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems, your stress response. And third, posture issues. Your posture can absolutely affect the blood flow that goes to your brain. There are many, many more dominoes, and most of the dominoes are much less obvious than this. But if you're thinking right now, what is this guy talking about? It must be something with the ear. It's going to have to be some sort of surgery or something. Suspend your disbelief, please, if only for a moment, and simply remember all of the people you saw at the beginning of this presentation who followed the advice I'm giving you now, and more advice, and now have completely silenced their symptoms. So here's the thing. You could take this right now and you could go and apply it. But I'm not going to lie, it'll probably be a little bit difficult because there's still a bit of guesswork. You still have to make sure you're doing everything in the right order. You still have to write out your own customized guide because everyone's different. Like you can't just go and take what one of my previous clients has done, apply it in your own life, and expect it to work. Now, the foundations are the same,